it's my contention that white supremacy is not to blame for everything wrong in the black community.
Mm-hmm.
Um, black people are so quick to point and say white supremacy is why we're broke, why there's a wealth gap, why we're impoverished, why we don't got the same rights, why we were not perfectly represented in the media. And then of course I turn the question to, all right, so if white supremacy is to blame for everything bad in our community, are they also to blame for everything good in our community, or do we
Mm-hmm.
take that credit and that responsibility and that accountability? What are your thoughts on white supremacy and how it may or may not be playing a major role in today's society, especially in relation to the black community?
I think um blacks are doing harm to each other.
Mm,
Um, like I said, for one, it goes back to the music.
yeah.
But for two, we're fighting each other, and I feel like even on TikTok, the most videos I'll see is from black people talking about white people. I don't see a lot of white people talking about black people like that.
Yeah.
I'll see here and there a couple viral videos, but it's so rare for me to see it on my For You page. Every time I scroll, there's a new video about a black person making fun of a white person, whether that's their hair, whether that's whatever they're wearing. It's always, you're trying to copy us, you're trying to do this. It's stuff that I don't really understand. I think that we create problems within our own community. I feel like they could put in some stuff, but I feel
Mm,
like they're at this point they're just sitting back watching us do the damage ourselves. It's
wow.
like it's simple for them. They don't have to do much for us to go against each other. Whether
Yeah.
that's like even with me, and I know I've already got hate for this, but even when it comes to hairstyles, a white person shouldn't braid their hair. A white person shouldn't do this. It's like they could be on live. There's been times I was literally on a live with like I think, yeah, he was a white guy and he
Hmm.
dreaded his hair and he did his edges and stuff like that, and he was just sitting there quiet and everybody would just joining his live, specifically black people joining his live, acting out, cursing him
Right.
out, saying he's this, and he's just sitting back. And you know what that proves to me? That goes to show you they don't have to do nothing. They can
Yeah.
literally just sit there and let you make yourself look
Foolish.
ghetto.
Yeah.
And I was trying to
Facts.
tell them that on the live. I'm like, I don't necessarily I don't agree with a lot of things that goes on, but I'm not gonna stay on a live if I don't agree with that. I'm not gonna bash somebody because now I'm looking weird. Like you're ghetto now. If people already view us a certain way just because we're black, like, oh, black girls are ghetto and stuff like that, why add to that? That's what
Hmm.
I was trying to say. Why go on the live and talk more shit? And this person's just sitting there letting you do it. He's making you embarrass yourself.
Facts.
So I feel like they don't really have to do the work anymore. It's us now. So
Facts. And I listen to a lot of CIA podcasts and former CIA agents and officers, and they talk about how propaganda works and how China or Russia can just influence our entire country and how we behave by simply placing things in our media. That as long as we're being impacted and as long as we're a nation that can be easily triggered by the smallest little stimuli, they have control of us. And the
mhm.
same thing I think works in TikTok or these smaller platforms and not the global setting. Shout out Friendsgiving in the chat. You see how the smallest stimuli can impact someone mainly because as long as that person is so emotional that I know the right words to say, it's kind of like the word submission. Most women will immediately get triggered by I don't got to submit to no man. I'm strong, independent. I don't need no man. I got my own money. I got my own car.
Mhm.
Cool, but submission often has a lot of similarities to respect or cooperation. And if you use those words, it doesn't trigger anyone. But
Mhm.
submission just has this connotation to it that most men can realize. The point is, if you're easily triggered by someone saying a word, I don't care if it's the N word, they have power over you. Because if they can make predictions based on your behavior or based on your phenotype or based on your archetype, and they say, I think they will react this way if I just say, and then you go
Mhm.
off and you start trying to fight and cops is called, you get arrested, you spend 30 days in jail. I'm like, your life is a mess, bro. You're constantly playing defense because everybody's going, hey, watch this, three, two, one. They go off. I'm like, bro, that's too much. It's too
Mhm.
much. It's a word. So I think words do have power. And obviously, if you go to an airport and you say words that start with B, you can take an L in there too. And so it's
Mhm.
not just black people that are easily triggered, but um, I think we have a lot to I study stoicism. Excuse me. I study stoicism in regards to just not being triggerable. I'm like, slow down, bro. Relax. Breathe. Think before you speak. Think before you act. Think before you respond. And we have a nation of, I mean, you see this in the riots and the protests where people just run around burning shit down. The white people got their protests too. You know, they be at the Capitol tearing up stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anyone's doing it right. I don't think anyone's doing it right. The Asians were under attack for a while, and you know they made their videos and you know stop Asian hate and what have you, but we didn't see them burning anything down.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't see them breaking into any federal buildings. Maybe we should follow them just a little bit. Use Twitter a little bit more. Use TikTok a little bit more. Use Facebook, Instagram a little bit more, and less buildings, less gas stations, less Capitol building. I don't know, but yeah, I'm sitting in a place where the white supremacy scapegoat has kind of ran its course. The further and further away from slavery we get, there should be some improvements, especially in our rhetoric in terms of accountability. I'm like, at some point, it's my fault, man. And if I do something right, give me all the credit, give me the praise and glory. But if I do something wrong, it got to be me too.